guys, it's Neon Fresh. Welcome back to part 2 of this tutorial where I added some mana costs and I've got like a timer thing going on for the mana, and I've got some animation happening as well. And you notice if you have insufficient mana you wouldn't be able to build it. And also notice that the positions of these cards are actually like more like Clash Royale now because they don't move. Before, if you notice, like if you click number 2, like all of these elements, they will shift to the left, and this one would be on like the new one. It'll be number 4. So I've fixed these positions as well, and that takes a bit of know how to do that. So let's get started. And the first thing we're gonna do from the original part 1 is we're going to modify the card a little bit. So as you see here, I've added the number 3 sort of thing and the mana. So I've added a little shape. So I just I went in and I added a new image from this, and I've made it so that it's you can choose the hexagon shape from this one. So you go polygon and then you go hexagon, and just try to use these values as well to get a cool thing happening. And in that shape I've added a text mesh pro as well, and in the card I've linked it back to this text mesh pro. So I dragged and dropped another element in here for the mana, and let's see if there's any changes in the card handler. Well, okay, there's a lot. Well, let's not go for that now. So we got this happening, and then also notice there's a background thing. This is because we want to animate the lerping of this I guess you can also do it when you disable the layout group, but I chose to just keep the layout group and then put another panel in here, because as you notice if you click the card, like these values are locked, so you can't really like animate them. But if you make a new like panel or new image in here and just move all the background elements in here, then you can start to move it. So this is what I did for now. I created a new background here, or just moved it here, and then now you can start to animate it as you see. Make sure the pivot point is centered as well. And yeah, that's about it for what I did here. And for this one, I've also make sure to click apply if you're happy with those changes. For this one, I also added a little counter here just so I know how much mana I have. And this one is on my build manager apparently. So put a new credits text, and then I dragged it into my build manager phase, and I've updated a lot of these scripts, so let's go into that now. So let's start off with a card handler. Each card handler needs to have a slot now, because this slot keeps track of what slot your card has been before it's deleted. So this lets me like reshuffle the cards as I needed. And then I want to play an animation as the yeah, so actually I have like a mana cost thing here, which is pretty easy. So you just add a mana cost to the card. So each card has just a new int called mana cost, and we just say if the build manager's current mana is, you know, is less than the cost of the card mana, and we say we add it, we can debug log a warning saying like not enough mana. But this is my pop-up manager, and my pop-up manager is just adding a string saying not enough mana. So then we can minus the current mana from the build manager's mana. So if we look at what I did in the build manager, I just have you know, the current mana, so I just kind of added that there as well. So let's have a look back in here, and this is the same. We just spawn the building, and we tell the deck manager that the last deleted slot is this number, so it keeps track of the slots number, and then we can animate it. So this is just a coroutine, and this coroutine, I'm using a custom coroutine called mech, which makes it a bit more optimized in terms of the garbage collection. So then I disable the layout group because I don't want it moving when it's when I want it to be destroyed. So then I scale it to the 0, basically with a tween library called lean tween. So I scale the rect transform to 0 and just a little bit of time, so 200 milliseconds, and then we wait for 350 milliseconds, and then we tell the deck manager to remove a card, and we destroy the game object like we did before. So this is just going to happen after the animation finishes. Alright, so I guess this build manager is pretty important because we added a lot here. So basically we just have a, this is all just actually just you know, I'm asking if it's my build phase, which I have an event here. So you don't really need this, you can call this on awake, but I have an event to say when I want the mana to start increasing. And when the mana starts increasing, I run the coroutine, and this coroutine is just to like say if it's increasing, if the boolean is increasing, we wanna just keep adding mana. So we're just gonna keep like waiting. It's a loop, so while loop. So we're just gonna keep you know, increasing mana each interval. So you can specify how much interval you want. So I kept it at 1 second here, and then we say if the current mana is less than the max mana, which is like 10, then we can increase it, and then we can update the text as well. So I guess that's about it for this part, and then let's have a look at the last part here, which is the, yeah, so it's not too bad. This is actually the last part. I'm not sure about like this layout group thing, because I think if I didn't put it into this kind of you know, the thing with like this background thing, if I didn't do that, like maybe I could just disable the layout group, and then this way it'll just be like you can animate this like however you want. Maybe that's a thing, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe that's something you can try as well. But apart from that, we can have a look at this script. So everything's the same, except I chose to, you know, put these into functions so it looks neater, and I added this last deleted slot equals -1, and this one which keeps a reference to the horizontal layout group. And if we have a look at this code, we just instantiate, we just pass the card so it knows what card it is. And then I changed it a little bit, so the prefab of a card scriptable object keeps track of the prefab, and we can like do more things with it if we keep track of it. So that's what I did there, and each individual card is now going to keep track of its own prefab, so which is handy. And we just changed the mana text as well, so added a line here to change the mana cost text. And this is, all of this is just to set the the position again to the right position. So just to fix that, like when you move it, you know, when you click on the third one and then it'll like move. So this is all just to fix that. So we got, if the last deleted slot is not equals to -1, so this means we have a deleted slot, then we can set the slot number to the last deleted slot. But otherwise we can just set it to the deck panel's transform child count -1. So this is like the natural way, but if you have the deleted slot, then we're going to set it to the last deleted slot number instead. And then we can reset it to -1 because it's been deleted. And this was a code that I tried before and it didn't work. So it's just like a for loop, and then it sets the sibling index, which is a lot simpler, but it didn't work. So what I had to do was I had to make a reverse for loop, and this way it worked. So you got to set the index from the reverse. So we're just looping through each of the transform components, and then we're setting the slot number by set sibling index, which is going to set it to the right slot order. And after it's done, we can re-enable the horizontal layout group again. And the last bit is just the animation. And the animation, I want to get the child background, which is the background rect. This is just a lazy way to do it for now. So it's like the first background element that we can actually manipulate with animation. And then we keep track of the original local position of it, and then we can add we can minus the Y value of the height of the card, so it's like all the way down. So the card, so you imagine this is the card, and then the card is now like all the way below here, and then we animate it back up, so back to the original pot. So it's going to slide back up, so you get a nice sliding animation that's going up. And I think that's about it. I can show you what happens if I don't have this code. So yeah, let me show you what happens if I don't have this code, for example. So let me comment this out and just play the game. Oh, whoops, I'm still enabling the layout. I'm still disabling the layout group. So if I just not disable the layout group, then we can see what happens. Because if you disable the layout group, it'll sort of fix the positions, which is kind of cool. So yeah guys, you see how that's like moving like towards, it's moving in again, and like that's not what you want. That's not the behavior that you want, because you want it to like, you know, stay in the fixed position, just like Clash Royale, which is very cool. So you don't lose track, you know, of your card. So yeah guys, that's that's about it. And hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and hope this wasn't too confusing for you. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any better ways to do things, let me know as well. Apart from that, guys, I think that's should be the end of this. Maybe, you know, if I have a later update, I'll post it to polish it up a bit more. Maybe I have a little mana bar for this instead. I mean, you know, I'll eventually have to get to that anyway if I do want a cool mana bar. But apart from that, yeah, that's about it. You guys have a good one. Peace.